No, that's a hard pass. I enjoy not spending time in prison. So,
Yes, me too.
um, so one thing I think is interesting, especially through Western eyes, American eyes, it's easy to fall in the trap when you talk about cartels of pointing externally. And this is, it's only people that have a different moral view or ethical view, or even a different visual perspective, right? Different levels of melanin in their skin. But as you mentioned, the more I've talked with people about this angle of American facilitators continues to pop its head up. And sometimes it's through the lens of people who are doing straw purchases for weapons in southern border states. And they are, the Iron River, as they called it. I think it was a half a
Yeah,
million.
I did.
It was 500,000 guns last year alone.
Yeah, I did a story about that in season 1. Guns.
Yeah.
Bullets.
How is it just money? I mean, how are the cartels, the recruitment, finding the right people, to me is fascinating. And and I've talked with some ex-agency officers, and I talk with them about recruitment as well too. How do you think they do it? How do you think they pick the people that they know are going to be susceptible? Are they looking for higher risk people? Because it takes time. I assume they're just not driving down the road in an A-team van looking for people to throw money at it. Do you have any
It's
idea of how they spend their time recruiting these people?
Yeah, trust is the most important thing. So usually it's family members
Mm.
or people that they've grown up with. So usually family members that have come to the United States and that they can really trust, or again, yeah, people that they know very well. So trust, I think, would be the number one most important. But I think you touched upon an important thing there, which is none of this would exist, right, without the buyers in the United States and without the supply of guns in the United States. So it goes both ways, right? It's the consumers of these drugs that allow this business to flourish here in the United States. And it's the easy supply of guns from the United States down to Mexico that allows the cartels to survive, because without the guns and without the violence, they wouldn't be able to run their operation. And I think, in many ways, they're, you can look at Mexico and see it as being very lucky to have such a powerful and rich neighbor, but also very unlucky, right? Because their neighbor, you look at the numbers and the thousands of people that are killed every year because of the drug violence in Mexico. I mean, in my profession alone, the hundreds of journalists that have been killed since the start of the drug wars in Mexico. And it's really tragic. And I don't think that would happen if it weren't for the fact that geography, if it weren't for the fact that they're neighbors with the United States. You look at the biggest money makers in Mexico is the oil business, it's the tourism business. And these dwarf in comparison with the money that is being made by the drug business. And again, the buyers, the business all happens basically mainly here in the United States, and we can't forget that. And yeah, we can point the finger, as you say, and say it's all that everything they're to blame. It's all Mexico and to Mexican government. But I think we have to take a deep look at what we're doing and take responsibility for where we for the responsibility that we have in all this, basically.
It's interesting. You mentioned the hundreds of journalists in Mexico that have been killed. What seems to be the difference between those that are targeted and those that are not? I mean, you yourself went down and met with the Sinaloa cartel in an attempt to be able to meet with somebody in the U.S. Is there some unspoken or perhaps very spoken line that these people are
Definitely.
crossing? Okay.
Except they're way braver than I am. These are
Yeah.
people who are exposing corruption, exposing the
Mhm.
ways the cartel operate. Usually it's corruption that gets them killed, right? And it's usually not about the corruption of the cartel itself. It's how the cartel is corrupting politicians or local business leaders. It's once they start reporting on that's what gets them killed. The reporting I do is very different. I am definitely, I always say that they are the unsung heroes. They are the ones, when people say that the reporting I do is brave, I appreciate that, but it's actually nothing compared to what these people who have a lot less resources than I do as a Western journalist, who don't have the privilege of going back to the safety of their own homes like I do here in the United States. They, live amongst the crime. That is, they're surrounded by the crime and by the criminals that they're trying to expose. Yeah, I'm always I find the reporting that they do and the people that they are incredible, and I take great inspiration from them.